Welcome back. I've finally managed to remove the lower wishbone. It wasn't the easiest job. The bolt came out. This bolt only comes out one way. It's got a castle nut on that side, then it's got a large nut, but it's actually part of the whole shaft. The steering column rack, the mount sits here, very close, so you can't just drive the shaft out. It goes straight into the steering rack, and it doesn't have a castle nut, because the castle nut would be large enough to sort of foul on the steering rack. So I did end up having to remove the steering rack from underneath, which was not an easy task with these pallets in the way, I can tell you. There's the steering rack. It's actually a reconditioned rack. It went on about 3 years ago, and these bushers, thankfully, are brand new. They've not been on long. It mounted here, and then that's where the steering mounts, and that's where the suspension bolt sits, right here. So you can see the rack. Oh, honestly, it took me about an hour and a half fiddling around with my arms stretched out, trying to get the nuts off. Oh, honestly, it was a fiddle. And then we got the other one right over there, look. A bit of a nuisance. Let me just sit up. Oh, it's a horrible day. It's cold. It's starting to snow. Not a day for me working on a car. See, we've got the track rod end hanging down. The whole steering rack is just hanging loose. It was necessary. I really hoped to be able to do it with, but I've never done the job before, and I now know that you can't do it with the steering rack in place, but it's out. So look at the state of the bush. Let's just bring this up. Let's just zoom in. So look, the bush is just complete. It's like sticky, rotten slop. It's a complete mess. So everything's out. I'll clean all this down, scrape it all off, clean it with chemical, and I'll paint all of that. Paint what I can get access to. I'm not going to touch the brake caliper at this stage. I'm going to pop that back on, and then in a couple of weeks' time I'm going to come back and take the brake caliper off, dismantle it, go through the whole brake system. But the next task is to just clean everything, press the bushers out, paint everything, press new bushers back in. And I'm going to try and get this side reassembled before I tackle the other side. I'll leave the steering off, because I'll have the same problem. I don't know if I can come around. I might be able to show you. It's so bloody awkward with the pallets in the way, because ideally I'd be like, yeah. Let's have a look. Where's the bolt? Let's zoom in. There we go. There's the bolt. That's got to come out. And you can see the mounting just to the side of it there, to the right hand side. That's where the steering goes. So I will not be putting that back until, we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to have to drive the car for one journey between rebuilding the right hand side and the left hand side. I don't know. So, I'm zooming in and out here. Never mind. But that's all I wanted to show you today. So there's the steering. There's the bits and pieces for the holding the steering rack on. Yeah. So first things first. I'll just clean everything chemicals. Get some chemical on here. Clean all the grease off, and everything will be painted and scrubbed down before I reassemble it. And then I'll come back and do the brakes in a few days' time.